Welcome back to Hardball. We heard what the candidates had to say this afternoon and what they were saying with their body language. That's the question we want answered right now. Karen Bradley and Karen Studd, two Karens, are body language experts and professors at the University of Maryland and George Mason, respectively. Karen Studd and you, Karen Bradley. Let's take a look here at what we see here with Romney and Thompson just a few moments ago in that debate.
Gasoline's expensive. Home heating oil, particularly in the Northeast, is very difficult for folks. Healthcare costs are going through the roof. Education costs in higher education are overwhelming. And as a result, we need to reduce the burden on middle-income families in this country.
Okay, a little snappier, gentlemen. Senator Thompson?
Well, my goal is to get in. My goal is to get into Mitt Romney's situation where I don't have to worry about taxes anymore.
5% trying to get into your situation.
5%. Well, you know, you're getting to be a pretty good actor, actually.
Karen Bradley, what is Thompson? What are they up to, those guys, with their bods?
They're having an authentic moment. And we haven't seen very much authentic movement from Fred Thompson. Mitt Romney tends to be fairly restricted. You know, he stays in this very vertical place, and he's having a good time up there. He's very upbeat. And we saw Fred Thompson move from this head-forward moment to having a good time. And they have a little moment of interaction at the end of it that says, here are two genuine people. It's a really lovely moment.
I wonder about that, Romney, and how very formal he is, very perfectly attired, how he doesn't move his body at all. Karen Studd, what do you make of that?
Well, I mean, he's not
exactly an animated person.
Well, he's very vertically erect, and I think he comes across as being stable because of that. And, you know, it's all about me, and I can do it, and firm resolve. And
he went to Anchorman school, didn't he?
Yes, and also very upbeat. Always
what about
putting
Thompson, who's out there, this big lunking guy, or hunking, how do you say that? Hulking. He's a hulking figure. He moves his body a bit there, didn't he? I thought he wasn't so languorous as usual there.
No, as Karen said, that was just like this really animated moment for him. Suddenly there was this dynamic quality came about, and he
Here we have a guy that I grew up with, I think. I went to school with the Terenzi brothers. I went to school with this guy, too. This is Giuliani, a guy from the neighborhoods. Let's watch him.
A flatter tax, a simpler tax that you could file on one page as an option would be a good idea. Reducing the corporate tax, as I suggested. Reducing income tax rates across the board, which would mostly benefit the middle class. That's where the focus should be. But we've got to reduce taxes across the board, and we should give the death penalty to the death tax. It really is a very unfair tax.
There he's going for the rich people. They want to keep the full legacy. What else is he doing with that paper? Waving that paper in the air. What was that all about? What was that all about?
I would say kind of the opposite of what we saw before, that authentic moment. This was kind of inauthentic. He didn't
even look. You think he had his hand on that paper long before that answer?
And he didn't even look at the paper, and he put it back down so perfunctorily, you know, it was dismissed, you know, on to the next thing.
He's an impulsive guy. You know, there's a lot of jumping onto the point and making his point. Sometimes he doesn't finish his point, though, and he doesn't necessarily follow through, which makes one wonder about follow-through.
Do you think big city manners like he's got, the New York cab driver thing, quick, brief, or blunt like me sometimes, is that off-putting to people from the rural areas?
It may be. Well, you know, again, this movement analysis is something that everybody does.
Yeah.
We all do it, and everybody has their own personal response to it. People like these candidates because of who they are, what kind of style they put out there. And what people need to be doing, people in Iowa.
I remember the time that Al Gore went right into space with George Bush, the president now. I think it cost him a lot of votes. Let's take a look at Governor Huckabee here on the issue of faith.
The two overriding principles are you treat others as you wish to be treated. As it relates in health care, that means that we recognize that a person who is sick shouldn't be treated differently because they're in poverty than a person who has extraordinary wealth. That we have some sense of balance in how we approach that. That's the essence of what America is about.
That serious, you know, Bill Clinton does that when he talks about not having had sex with that person. And he closes the eyes and he gets real treacly, post-nasal drip, the whole thing. What is that? Do people believe that stuff?
Well, Mike Huckabee has a lot of authenticity. He has a lot of what we call support for what he's saying. He has a mobile face, but it's connected up with what he's saying, and it's connected up with his...
Is it training or is it belief?
Well, he's a minister, right? So he's had experience doing this. He's had experience bringing the flock in.
Yeah, there's a lot of congruence to his movement, that there's a lot of complexity to it, so the dynamic range is varied, the phrasing is varied, so he has a lot of possibilities, and he really connects with people through his movement.
You think he's working?
I think that his movement is really one of the things that's enabling him to affect, getting connected to people.
Are you ladies saying as professionals that if you just watched him and didn't hear a word, or you didn't speak the English language, that you'd still connect with this guy?
Absolutely. We don't know, it's not necessarily important that, you agree with what he's saying. People feel brought in. He's the kind of person you would go and tell your problems to. If he was your minister, you'd go and he would listen.
You know that?
Yeah. Oh,
by
yeah.
By the reading of his body, you can tell he's a listener.
I don't think we're the only ones who know that. I think that's why he's doing well in Iowa.
I'm being Socratic, but I am impressed. We have to have you back because I think there's something going on here. I think it's, and by your body language reading, you think the winner of this campaign so far is Huckabee.
Well, he's certainly winning in Iowa. People are agreeing with us, but I think in every past campaign that we've seen, that we've looked at, it's the candidates the most accessible, the most accommodating, the most.
And he does that with his presentation.
Oh yes, yes. The dynamic range, the three-dimensionality of their body language, all of those things.
Right.
I'm surrounded by wise people. Thank you. I like your authoritative attitudes. No, you know what you're talking about.
Yes.
I think it's very interesting. Well, you're right because he's winning. Anyway, Karen Bradley and Karen Studd up next with Hillary slipping in the polls. What's Bill Clinton got up his sleeve? You're watching Hardball, only on MSNBC.